Hi, if you don't know me well, my name is Jennifer Hernandez, and I have been a dietetics program director, or at least affiliated with a program since 2014. In 2014, I became the Dietetic Internship Director of a freestanding dietetic internship, which means it's not affiliated with a college or a university. We were affiliated with the Department of Public Health, and I ran that program for almost 4 years until I left to join a future education model graduate program, where I assisted the program director for the first 2 years, and then a little over a year ago, took over program accreditation management duties. So I have been involved in accredited dietetics education for a while now, and I want to share with you kind of the steps to becoming a registered dietitian. It's kind of a complicated, confusing, convoluted process that a lot of people have trouble trying to follow and keep up with. And so I thought it might help if I just made you a video to talk about the steps to becoming a registered dietitian. So when we look at how to become a registered dietitian, there's actually multiple pathways. And this is part of what makes it confusing and complicated for people, because there's not just one direct line to becoming a registered dietitian. So we see we have this sad girl here who's sitting there and she just doesn't know what to do. Well, the first step to becoming a registered dietitian is to get a bachelor's degree. And it used to be that you had to get a very specific accredited bachelor's degree called a didactic program in dietetics. Now, recently, in just the last couple of years, there have been some additional pathways that have been added to make it a little bit easier for career changers or people who came across nutrition a little bit later in their academic career. Okay, so it may be that you are getting, or you have gotten, an undergraduate degree that is not a didactic program in dietetics, or the alternative was a coordinated program in dietetics. So as of right now, there are some programs out there that are coordinated programs in dietetics that award a bachelor's degree. That is not probably going to be the case for much longer. With the 2022 standards, I believe those coordinated programs are going to have to award at a minimum of a master's degree. So there's probably not much option for a coordinated program as a bachelor's degree, which is why I'm going to focus on this green rectangle, which is undergraduate programs that are not didactic programs or coordinated programs, and the blue square or rectangle, that are the didactic programs in dietetics. So if you're unsure, if you're enrolled in a nutrition program and you're not sure if it's considered a didactic program in dietetics, ask your faculty, they should know. And it could be that your university has a didactic program in dietetics, but it also has nutrition degrees that are not accredited in that way. So make sure that you understand what your degree is and what you're going to come out with your bachelor's degree. Now, if you do a didactic program in dietetics, it opens basically every single door to becoming a registered dietitian. Technically speaking, I could have made blue arrows going from the didactic program in dietetics to the PhD. So it would actually go over here to the PhD and then down to the PhD individualized supervised practice pathway. And I could also draw an arrow from the didactic program in dietetics to the future education model graduate programs. The picture is messy enough as it is, so I did not add all those additional arrows, but I could have done so, and maybe I'll do so in the future. All right, so these numbers by the different supervised practice programs are the number of programs that existed in December of 2020 when I made this graphic. Okay, so you can see that for those people who do those didactic programs in dietetics, it opens up a lot of programs because the majority of programs are these dietetic internships. But let's say that you are near the end of your degree and it's not a didactic program in dietetics. Maybe you did an undergraduate degree in something that's not nutrition at all. You still have some options. You can look into coordinated programs in dietetics, especially focusing on those that lead to a graduate degree, so a master's or a doctorate. You can look at future education model graduate programs. And then you could just go straight into a PhD program that allows you to meet the requirements and do a PhD individualized supervised practice pathway. Now, if you go this route, you're going to have to look very carefully at programs to make sure that you have met the prerequisites and that you can apply to them. The same is going to be true if you've got that didactic program in dietetics. It's just that most programs that require the verification statement called a DPD verification, we'll just assume that you have everything because you did that didactic program in dietetics. All right, I know this is all super confusing. So the first thing you need to know again is, did you or are you completing a didactic program in dietetics or not? And then you can start looking at which programs that you can apply to. So if you have a non-accredited bachelor's degree, then you can only apply to coordinated programs and future education model programs. You can also choose these programs if you have that accredited didactic program in dietetics. But for those who do not have that accredited bachelor's degree, then you will have to look at one of these two program types. Now, I'm showing you here a screenshot of the accredited programs directory, and let me just show you how I get to that. So I literally just Google accredited programs directory, and it is the first thing that pops up for me. Now, I accidentally was in Bing earlier, and it is not the first hit on Bing, but just look and make sure that you're finding the one that says Eat Right Pro, which is the website for the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics. So when I click on it, I get to the accredited programs directory. Now you can't look at both coordinated programs and future education model graduate programs at the same time. So you would have to choose them, individually. Now, on a phone, you do not see these additional filters. So you have to be on a computer to see them, from what I heard from other people and what I've done before. They could have changed it since I did this. But if you're looking at those coordinated programs in dietetics, you are going to want to filter for at least a graduate degree. So if you only want a master's, just choose a master's. If you're indifferent, choose master's or doctorate. That filters out those programs that still lead to a bachelor's degree. Those are probably going to phase out soon. But for now, just go ahead and do those filters. And then you can click on search, and it's going to show you the various coordinated programs that lead to that master's degree. So you can see here, like Arkansas State University's coordinated program, it grants currently a bachelor's degree or a master's degree, and that's fine. You would just apply to get into that master's degree program. Now, again, I don't need these checked. If I'm going to search for future education model graduate programs, hit search, and this is going to show you the various future education model graduate programs. Then once you get in there, you're going to want to click on the link to the website, because you will need to go to each program individually to learn about their application process, their application deadline, and their prerequisite courses. So you're going to match up the courses you've taken with their required prerequisites, making sure that you pay very close attention to the application deadline. There is not necessarily a consistent application deadline among these coordinated programs and future education model programs. Every program gets to set their own requirements and guidelines and policies. So just make sure that you are looking at all of that detail. You might even want to make a spreadsheet or however you can organize things to keep track of all the information from the programs that you are interested in. Now, let's say that you are that person, oops, I can't find the slide that I want to see. So let's say you're that person who did, oops, this didactic program in dietetics, right? And so you can, again, you can look at those coordinated programs and future education model programs, but you can also apply to dietetic internships. So here's what you need to know about dietetic internships. If you are applying right now, then it may or may not be connected to a graduate degree. However, with those 2022 standards, I believe that programs will either have to grant a graduate degree or only accept people who already have a minimum of a master's degree. And those standards take effect next summer. So summer of 22. So it's probably going to impact pretty much everyone that's watching the video now. You will have to have a graduate degree to sit for the RD exam if you finish your program on January 1st, 2024 or later. So if you manage to slide in and you finish not only your bachelor's degree, but also your dietetic internship or your coordinated program in dietetics before January 1st of 2024, then you can still take the RD exam without a master's. Now, my caveat to you is if you finish in December of 23, then you are going to be a newly credentialed dietitian with a bachelor's degree, and you are going to be competing for jobs with those who finished on in January or later and have a master's degree. So just keep that in mind if you decide you're going to try to sneak through and get done before that master's requirement. You may be competing for jobs with people who have master's degrees. Now, most, but not all, dietetic internship programs use a centralized application service. And that application service is called DICAS. So again, we're going to come here and we are going to Google DICAS, and here we go. First Google hit. This is the portal to apply to almost all dietetic internships. Again, you are going to want to go to their website from that accredited programs directory. So the same place we were just a little bit ago, except now, instead of coordinated programs and future education model programs, we're going to filter it to dietetic internships. If you want it to lead to a degree, you can mark it, but you don't really need to. Something else, which I'll talk about match dates in a minute, but you can also filter by fall or spring application. So we're going to just hit search. And again, this is going to give you every program. There's going to be websites, and you're going to go there and make sure that they use DICAS. If not, find out what their application requirement is. You may also have to fill out an application for the university. So you may have to fill out 2 different applications, and you're going to find that out by going to their website. Now, for the programs specifically that use the centralized application service, there are 2 application deadlines per year. September 25th. So, as of this recording, we have just missed the deadline for fall match, and February 15th. The majority of programs only participate in what is called spring match, which is that February 15th application deadline. There's a much smaller number of programs that participate in fall match and have that September 25th deadline. But know which the program does, or if they do both, and make sure that you're applying in DICAS to the right program and the right application cycle. And you have to get all of your stuff in by midnight Central Time on those dates. The application system will close, and the only way to submit anything after that deadline is to reach out to the program director. And there has to be a pretty good reason. I had applicants before at my previous job where we used this system that, didn't realize it was Central Time, or they didn't realize that, what the time difference was and the application system closed before them. You don't want to be that person, because that just shows you lack attention to detail. So make sure you get things in before that deadline. Now, most programs use DICAS, and most programs use another company called DND Digital Matching. And so with DND Digital Matching, so again, I can just Google this, and DND Digital. This is a website where you are going to rank the programs that you've applied to and that you want to get into. So this is a whole nother website where you're going to have to put in information, and it tells you you need to send an application through DICAS, and then you're going to prioritize or rank through the matching system. Again, very complicated, very convoluted system. But what happens is you apply to whichever programs you want to get into, and then they will prioritize the people that have applied to them in the order in which they want them. As an applicant, you will probably have applied to about 3 to 5 programs. Each program application within the DICAS system costs you money. So there's a fee just to use it, and that covers the first program you apply to, and each additional program adds to the cost. Now, when you get to DND, it's another cost, but it's only one cost regardless of how many programs you list. Okay, so you're only going to rank programs that you've applied to, because there's no point in ranking programs that you didn't send your application to. And if the program does interviews, you really only need to rank the ones that chose to interview you, because if you know they do interviews and you didn't get an interview, you're probably not on that list. Now, the other thing I want to say about DND Digital Matching is the order that you rank programs in is important. And it doesn't matter the likelihood that you think you're going to get in, right? You need to rank programs in the order of your interest to get into the program. So let's say that you applied to 3 different programs, A, B, and C, and you know that C takes the most interns, and you've heard from people that C is the easiest to get into, but your heart is really set on B. I've heard that people rank C as first because they know that that's their best chance of getting in. And then they end up matching to C, and they'll never know if they would have matched to program B. But if you put program B first, that doesn't reduce your chances of getting into program C. It just means that when this third-party company looks at the list, if you are on program B's list and you put program B first, you're going to match to program B, even if you're on the list for A and C. If you are on the list for all 3 programs, A, B, and C, they are going to put you in whichever program you put first. Okay, so make sure that you are ranking them in the order of your interest in the program. Now, the other side of this, it is a very competitive process. In 2019, the internship match rate was 65%. That means 65% of applicants matched to a program, and 35% of applicants did not match to any program whatsoever. That is actually the highest the match rate has been since 2006. It hovered around 50% for a long time, and a combination of more internship spots, probably the addition of these future education model graduate programs, and less applicants applying to dietetic internships has increased the match rate. But just know that it's very competitive, and you need to have a super strong application to your program. All right, so that is the end of this video on how to become a dietitian. Hopefully that made sense. Hopefully that was somewhat helpful. And if you have questions and you are in a didactic program, please be sure to reach out to your didactic program director or your faculty. If you are not, then reach out to programs that you're interested in, and I'm sure those program directors will be happy to help you answer any questions about how to become a registered dietitian. Up next, I will be making some videos where I do some interviews with program directors talking about what their programs are like and what they're looking for in applicants. So thank you so much and have a great day.